Good morning, guys. I think my microphone's on. Last week it was a little bit muted, so I turned it up. So, welcome to today's Bitcoin and cryptocurrency news. I am George. Happy Friday. Things are a little weird. Bitcoin was going up and up and up, and why did it dip all of a sudden? So, that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Why did Bitcoin dip? Also, a lot of people have been asking me, what is Filecoin? All of a sudden, everyone's talking about Filecoin. Seems to have come out of nowhere. So I'm going to discuss that and other crypto news. So welcome everyone. Thanks for tuning in. As always, smash up the like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. It is Friday. I have these streams every Friday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Reason why I choose Friday is because it's a looser day. People don't want to work, right? So let's keep it nice and loose. Anything goes during Q&A, and that's it. Let's get started. All right. So let me bring up my screen here. Bitcoin, $11,331, $33, and this is pretty much where it was a few days ago, and then it went up to 10,000, almost 700. I'm sorry, 11,700. Almost went up to 11,700. And then all of a sudden, it's like boom. Like why the sudden crash? Why did it dip down to 11,100? Now we're back to basically where we were before. Overall, it's not a real dip. It's not a 500,000, 1,500, 2,000 point dip like the old days. This is just a few hundred points. And the reason being is this: people are fearful about OKX, one of the bigger exchanges out of Asia. All of a sudden, the exchange decides to suspend withdrawals. Now, I'm looking at this, and the way this is worded is very confusing, right? Because if you look at the headlines, and everyone's saying the same thing. Look at key holder not available due to cooperation with investigation. So when you like really look at this at a first glance, you're like, whoever is arrested, one of the main guys, they hold the key, right? And then you're thinking that would be stupid. Why would one guy hold the key to all the wallets? But that's not it. I mean, this is basically saying one of the key shareholders, like one of the main guys of the company. So the company just decided to suspend withdrawal, which doesn't really make any sense. He could be under investigation. He could be working with, I don't know, the agencies that are questioning him right now, right? There could be a number of things going on, but why do you need to suspend all withdrawals? It should be business continues as usual. So this is a very weird situation, and the headlines don't help with it, which is why Bitcoin dipped down a few hundred points, because people are like, are they gonna go under? Is something fishy going on? And we don't really know at this point. But it's just really weird. Why do you need to do this? Like, for example, even if CZ gets arrested or gets pulled away from Binance for questioning, right? That does not mean Binance should all of a sudden just stop all withdrawals, right? It's not like that one single guy should have control over the entire company or control over any of the private keys. So it doesn't really make any sense, right? But this is the reason why Bitcoin dipped a little bit. Nothing really to be worried about. Bitcoin has been really, really, really stable within the last few months, actually for basically the almost entire year. And that's because of really it's helped by what's going on around the world with, of course, the pandemic, with economic uncertainty, with unemployment, with a lot of things going on, right? But one thing is for sure, Bitcoin is changing people's minds because of what's going on. And now you have not only retail investors like average Joes, like you and I, that are dollar cost averaging. And not only that, you have whales, you have hedge funds, you got investment companies, and now you have publicly traded companies that are coming out of nowhere saying that they're buying $100 million worth of Bitcoin as a reserve currency. They have nothing to do with with Bitcoin or investing or anything like that, they're coming out. So my last video a few days ago was talking about that. I mean, that didn't happen before. People were afraid to be associated with Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin was sort of like a taboo kind of thing that you don't really want to tell other people about, at least back in the day. Now, come 3 years later, from 2017 to 2020, things have changed. Now you have a lot of companies that's actually proud to say, we're putting our money into Bitcoin. And they're getting a warm reception. Their stocks actually go up. So I posted this a few days ago. I'm going to bring this up again. And there was another company right after this that also bought $115 million worth of Bitcoin. But you could see, man, it's just increasing, right? Some of the older players like Galaxy Digital from Mike Novogratz, we've heard about him over the years. But, I mean, he has a lot. He has almost $200 million worth of Bitcoin. Right? And then you got newcomers like MicroStrategy and also Square that's getting involved. And then you got a lot of other players involved, ones that run wallets and stuff. And of course, you have the biggest one of all, basically the Sun, Grayscale, that controls almost 450,000 Bitcoin. Remember, Satoshi's wallet, right, was approximately holding a little bit under 1 million Bitcoin. And that is the biggest wallet that is in existence right now, as far as I know. Yes, it should be. But if Grayscale's purchasing continues, they're going to be the biggest whale, right? And at this scale, they're purchasing more and more and more, not only for themselves, but also because, they're offering these trusts that could be bought publicly. So there's a lot of other companies and investors that's also buying it, which is why this is growing so much. But man, that's growing. So, I mean, just this alone is $7 billion, right? And then you look at all the other facts, the holders, how the holders keep adding and keep holding. The number of inactive addresses keep increasing, right? And there was another statistic, Coinbase, their custody service has 11 billion of Bitcoin locked in, just sitting there, right? So the number of holders are increasing, okay? They're just, if you look at the total circulated, just not that much. And I'm not even talking about like lost Bitcoins, right? There's approximately about 30% of Bitcoin is lost forever. So you look at what's circulating out there, you got to cut out like 30% right away. And then you cut out everything that's being held. And then you finally come with a number and you realize there's just not that many. There's just not that many. Okay, so what is my point? I've been rambling on for a while. My point is, that is why Bitcoin is so stable right now. We're not seeing those 1,000-point swings, right? The volatility that we've seen for the last 3 years. And that is good and bad. I guess if you're trying to swing trade, it's kind of boring because you can't really swing trade Bitcoin at this point. But for those of us that are holding for long term, this is fantastic, right? Not too long ago, Bitcoin was still below 10,000. Once it broke above 10,000, that's pretty much it. Now we've broken through 11,000. That's pretty much it. It continues to linger along, inch higher, and when it's ready, it makes the next leg up. Next leg up could bring us past 12,000, or it could bring us even higher than that, maybe 13 or 14,000, as it smashes through some of these previous highs. So Bitcoin is definitely in a very, very good spot. So news like OKX suspending withdrawals, at this point, it's like, it shouldn't really have any effect at all. Even if OKX went belly up, and yeah, there will be a lot of Bitcoin and crypto lost, the market will move on, right? But ultimately, what this means is, yes, you got to be careful with your own crypto. Try not to keep everything on exchanges if you can, right? Leave them on a hardware wallet, because you never know. You never know what may happen with these exchanges, right? But this story still doesn't make any sense to me. Just because one of the main guys gets arrested or brought in for questioning, why do they have to suspend withdrawal? It just doesn't make any sense. All right, what else is there? Well, there's someone, Dan Taprio, basically claims shorts will be dead. Bitcoin can face a supply shortage if institutional demand for Bitcoin continues to rise. Well, I agree, right? So this kind of relates to what I just said. There's so many people that's just hoarding and buying Bitcoin as much as possible. Here's another interesting statistic about Grayscale. Grayscale recorded its largest ever quarterly inflows, over 1 billion in Q3 of 2020, making a third consecutive record-breaking quarter. So look at this. It just keeps increasing at an exponential rate. Not just like a small increase like this. This is increasing exponentially higher. Year to date, investment into Grayscale family products has surpassed 2.4 billion, more than the 1.2 billion cumulative inflow into products from 2013 to 2019. So more than double, I should say. So think about that. In 6 years, 2013 to 2019, Grayscale only inflowed 1.2 billion. I say only. But just in 2020, and the year's not over, it already doubled that. So the buying is increasing, like I said, exponentially. Everyone wants a piece, right? So if you're not involved yet, you're not in the game, you're not in the Bitcoin game, right? It may soon be too late because Bitcoin is not gonna stick around at these levels forever. In another few years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, when I'm still streaming and I'm looking at the price, and I'm going to be saying the same thing when Bitcoin is at 30,000, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, it's going to be a different story. It's going to be a different story versus where it is now. So, yeah, so I agree. I can't say I disagree with this. All right. So that's Bitcoin. Let's move on to the other big topic, which is Filecoin. A lot of people have just all of a sudden, they got an email or they're noticing the headlines and they're like, what the heck is Filecoin? And if you look, Filecoin is at number 27, okay? It's dropped 43% from yesterday, but that's because the day before, or I should say hours before, I don't know how this is calculated because Filecoin's only been out for like a little bit over a day. They were up 124%. So the total market cap is 754 million. They were above billion, and then you could see that's a crazy chart, just shot up and down, right? So they're definitely doing well. Can they go down more? Yes, I would say so, because after a tremendous pump like that, they certainly could. But what is Filecoin? Well, Filecoin is exactly what it sounds like. Basically, it's decentralized storage, all right? And some of you guys remember, because they actually were around back in 2017. That's when they held their ICO. But so this is what a lot of people saw. Like yesterday, Gemini sent out an email saying, "Oh, Filecoin trading and custody is live," like out of the blue, right? It's just one of those things, just came out of nowhere. And if you look, it's not just Gemini. Like every major exchange decided to list them basically simultaneously, other than Coinbase, but that's coming. But Binance already has listed them, Gemini, Kraken, and others like Poloniex, KuCoin. I mean, basically every big exchange out there, all of a sudden just decided to list them. But anyways, so here's a good breakdown. But basically, think about it. They're a decentralized storage. That's it. Okay, so anyone can run their own node and basically get paid for it. And Filecoin is used to incentivize people to give up storage and create this network of decentralized storage. So the premise is, like right now, data centers, very little data centers spread around the world that is controlled by very little companies, a few companies that basically control the world's data. So the point of decentralized storage is get away from that, right? So that you could basically store your files and it gets spread out entire world, and there's no one entity or country or person that can block it, right? So that's the whole point. But they're not the only player in this game. There's a lot of companies that came out before that's also in the same space like Filecoin, storage, and you could argue that even like Tron is getting involved because of BitTorrent. I mean, there's a lot of players involved, right? But Filecoin, they held I believe, the second or the third largest ICO in 2017. And the reason why it comes to mind is because, oh, check it out. He's wearing a Lego sweater or windbreaker. That's pretty nice. So he's a Lego fan. But the reason why I remember it specifically, in 2018, I think later in 2018, people were like, how come no one's talking about Filecoin and how they basically pulled an exit scam? Because they took 200 million, they don't have a product, right? So they didn't. They continued to work, execute, and it's been 3 years, and now, I mean, that's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of money. They seems to have really just put their head down and built something good. And who's the main guy? Juan Bennett. He is the guy that actually invented IPFS. So he is someone that actually knows what he's talking about, at least development-wise, with decentralized storage. So he actually went through Y Combinator, which is a very, very popular incubator setup. In summer 2014, he founded Protocol Labs, and within Protocol Labs, he developed IPFS and the concept to Filecoin. And he's been basically working at that for a long time, and he has developed other things, other protocols, including libp2p, which I've heard of before. I know developers know what that is. I don't. A modular network stack for peer-to-peer apps and systems, IPLD, data module for interoperable protocols, multi-formats, etc., etc. So this guy seems like he's the real deal, and he's the guy behind Filecoin. So seems like it's led by a good developer, but I don't know in terms of business acumen and stuff like that. I don't know how well versed he is, but we will see. We will see. So that's the rundown for Filecoin. So is it worth investing into? I would say yes after it dies down, right? You don't want to get involved when it just gets listed and it gets pumped up to the moon, right? So seeing how it raised $200 million an ICO, and now it's worth 761. So approximately 4x. But I don't think that's how it works, because when they raised ICO, they weren't selling 100% of the tokens, right? They only sold a little amount. So it's actually probably worth a lot more. I don't know the calculation. Maybe it's like already 10x. I don't know the calculation, how much it was. I did not invest in Filecoin. So yeah. Who is this guy? He's going timeout right there. Zebrahead, welcome. 12-minute delay. Well, keep in mind when I talk, there is a delay already. So I don't know how you're getting a 12-minute delay. But anyways, I don't know who that guy was, but I put him in timeout. All right. So those are the two things I wanted to cover, really. Why Bitcoin dipped and Filecoin, because over the last few days, really nothing. Nothing else interesting. The one thing that I did find interesting, the Motley Fool, they usually talk about stocks, but they decided to, clickbait people because they want to draw on Bitcoin people to, kind of just get some attention. But anyways, forget Bitcoin. Here are the 3 stocks you should buy instead. These companies make for much smarter investments than a potentially flawed digital token. So this guy is basically taking a stance of Peter Schiff, right? So basically trying to irritate you or get Bitcoiners mad and look into it, right? But the one that he has mentioned in here before that I do agree with, so those of you guys that aren't purely in 100% in crypto and you actually do have some stocks, so he mentions 3, Square, and then C Limited, I have no idea who they are, and Shopify, I do know who they are. Shopify, in my opinion, has nothing to do with crypto, but I do think that they're actually onto something, right? Basically, you can create shops and sell anything. And if you want to accept crypto, you can. So Shopify, I don't disagree, but let's just say I'm neutral. I have no idea who C Limited is, but I do agree with this Square, right? Square is run by Jack Dorsey, who also runs Twitter. We all know he is a big Bitcoin bull. He even paying out of his pocket to have this like kind of like a Bitcoin support team. Yeah, so he's really into it. And of course, Square recently just bought $50 million worth of Bitcoin, around 4,800 Bitcoin. And I think that's only going to continue. And Jack Dorsey himself, he dollar cost average. I forgot how many he buys, like one Bitcoin per week or something like that. It's something like that. For him, it's like more than reasonable. But because of that, Square is really, even though they're in digital, processing in that space, but it's very easy for Jack to just kind of like slowly transition Square into a crypto payment company, right? That you could take credit cards, but you can also take crypto. And I do think that they're a really good Bitcoin play too, because now they do own a substantial amount of Bitcoin. And let's not forget the Cash App is also owned by Square, right? And that is generating a huge amount of revenue for Square also, and that's a Bitcoin play, right? So I do believe I do agree with this one. I do think if you invest in Square and their shares, it is a Bitcoin play. It is a Bitcoin play overall, a crypto and Bitcoin play, but mostly Bitcoin play. So I do agree with that. As for the broader market, continues to do well. I think right now it seems like things have topped out a little bit. People are waiting to see what happens after elections, right? That's coming up. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if the market's gonna go skyrocket or dump if either candidate wins. I have no idea, but it seems like the broader market is kind of just lingering at this point, waiting to see what happens. But Bitcoin continues to do its thing and continues to inch higher and higher and higher and higher. All right, that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. So I'll turn to you guys. Let's do some Q&A. Normally before John, welcome. Normally during like my non-streaming hours, which is almost all day every day, but I normally don't get any calls, and somehow within this stream I've gotten like 5 calls. So like it's a popular time right now. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, uh, yeah, there's some controversy with Tron in the chat right now. I think Tron is fine. They're fine. So Cardano is looking to be strong. Hopefully, people have been saying that for a while now. So let's see if it comes true. But there's some fierce competition out there already, right? So it's kind of like who's gonna be on top, and of course, besides who's on top, there's gonna be like a second big player, right? Like with anything, there's always like two. There you got a bigger player, and then you got like a strong competitor behind, right? With with like a protocol with a network, I think there's gonna be more than two, but it's kind of interesting. Like there's not one clear leader right now. I take that back. The clear leader is Ethereum right now. I take that back. So yes, it's Ethereum mostly because of DeFi, because of the development base, the tools and stuff. But let's say besides Ethereum, all the other newcomers that's fighting to get top spot, like Cardano, like Polkadot, like Tron, like EOS, like I don't know what else is there, Nulls, VeChain, let's put those in there. They're all fighting, right? And they're all like the next generation. They're the next wave. They're all trying to overtake Ethereum. So we'll see who wins. We'll see who wins. Always be positive. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's, you know, sometimes it's hard to keep emotions in, but other times, it's just you've been through it or been in it for so long, you just kind of get numb to everything. So that could be it too. Yeah, I think my last stream on Friday, right? Because I'm talking about damn right what you're saying about those BTC giveaway scams. Because last Friday after my stream, I saw that my monetization, not that I make really anything from ads on these streams, but it said it was limited, right? So I have an inside contact, someone that works at YouTube. I'm like, hey, why is this going on? They double checked the video. They said, okay, go appeal it. Because I was afraid if I appeal it, something bad might happen. Because that's how my channel got banned before, because I appealed. But it went through okay. But I think that's because of all these BTC giveaway scams that's going on. I think YouTube is like, I think mostly they're still operated by bots in terms of like content filtering and stuff like that. So they're trying to tweak it. And I think for their bots, it's really hard to tell what's real and what's not between a stream that's talking about Bitcoin news and a stream that's trying to give Bitcoin away as a scam. So it's hard. Hopefully they can resolve that. Do you agree with Raul Pal's recent price prediction of hitting 1 million? I mean, he's not the only person. A lot of people have said that before. It could happen. But if it happens, I think it means that it's pretty bad. If it hits $1 million, I think you're going to see some governments topple, some fiats collapse, and there could be worse things going on. So I think it's one of those things you got to be careful what you wish for. But Bitcoin going to 100,000, 200,000, 250,000, sure. But to get to 1 million plus, I think bad things have to happen. So it may not be that good unless you're holding a ton of Bitcoin. then I think you'll be good. Did I ever tell you I sold my Dodge Viper for Cardano on VeChain? Now I could rebuy 3 Dodge Vipers. Well, congratulations. So sounds like you did it at the right time. If you did it maybe a month ago, you probably be end up with 3/4 of a Viper now. But that was smart. That's part of the reason why I sold my Ferrari 360 earlier this year. So a couple months ago, 3 months ago, I sold it. Partly because I just wanted to have the cash on hand. I never drove the car. I never had a chance to really enjoy it, especially where I live. So I'd rather have that cash on hand in case something happens, right? Like if the crypto market falls because the broader market falls or something like that, I want to have cash ready. So that's kind of why I did it. So I have the same mindset. But good for you that you did it at the right time. Why no one talking about old coins like Poly? Loop rings. Okay, David? You must be out of it. Like one of the ones you named, Substranum, is done. They're done. They're like they don't even operate anymore. Polymath, that project was never gonna be good. They were gonna try to sell security tokens, and without the support of SEC, that'll never happen. I've always said that. I always said Polymath makes no sense. I don't know. Power Ledger, Loop Ring, they're still in the game. Power Ledger, haven't really heard much about them. Loop Ring is still involved. They kind of moved away from decentralized DEXs. That's their thing. So, I mean, some of them are just hanging around, but some of them have completely died. So, David, you might want to look into some of those alts that you still hold. Why don't people talk about Litecoin Cash? Well, first of all, you spell light wrong. It's LITE because of the total money grab. That's why. Did you see Filecoin? Well, you missed it. You have to scroll through at the beginning. Yes, I talked about it. Half of the stream is about Filecoin. So they came out of nowhere recently because they got listed, but they've been around since 2017, since they held a $200 million ICO back in 2017. So they definitely done well. And I like how Juan is into the Legos. So I'm a big fan of Legos. Actually, I realized you can't say Legos. Lego is just like singular and plural. But I just don't like referring to Lego as a plural. I didn't know that until I watched Lego Masters. WAN chain is done. Ontology is still there. Strat. What is that? I forgot what Strat is. Stratus. I think they're done. I haven't really heard anything about them. Polkadot I do like. Mostly because they're led. They're very, it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's kind of like Cardano, but the reason why people love Cardano is because of Charles, right? And the reason why people love Polkadot, same thing. They're led by Gavin Wood. He's not as outspoken, I don't think, or as public as Charles. But if you look into Gavin Wood, he's like the main guy, one of the main developers behind Ethereum, and he wrote a lot of things and developed a lot of things for Ethereum. So he does have good rapport with the Ethereum community. So that's why they're right there, like neck and neck with each other, right? These two guys are trying to outdo the creation that they worked on, right? They're both trying to outdo Ethereum. Oof. Okay. David, it just sounds like you need to pay attention to some of these alts. It seems like you've been out for a year or two. So you need to start researching some of these alts that you hold and decide. Because some of them basically have done nothing the last 2-3 years. And some of them have. And some of them have collapsed, like Substratum, which basically, turned out to be a total shit show. And I apologize for swearing, but it did. So, yeah. When is the Peter Schiff and George debate? I can't. There's no point in debating Peter Schiff. At this point, we know he's just trolling, just doing it to grab more attention. I don't believe he honestly believes what he says now about Bitcoin. He's just doing it because he knows he can stir up the pot, right? Stir up the pot and get people mad, and he's actually probably gaining more followers because of it. So there's no point. That is why Anthony Pomp, when he debates Peter Schiff now, it's like almost a joke to him because he knows he can't convince him, right? So I've seen some of the ones he's done on his podcast where he's like drunk and he's trying to debate him because it's just no point. It's just for fun at this point. Quarter caller, good morning. Bullish on Chainlink? Yeah, I don't think Chainlink's gonna go away. I don't think it's gonna go away. I mean, recently fell down to like $8 something, below $10. I'm like, man, that's a good buying opportunity. I didn't think they would fall below 10 anytime soon or ever again, but they did. But yeah, Chainlink is so unique because they're not just involved with DeFi. I think people only associate with them with DeFi right now, but they were created to be an Oracle network for anything, right? Not just price data. So they're involved with several big protocol coins like Polkadot right below them. They're partnered up with them. Tezos is partnered up with them. A lot of dApps, a lot of DEXs, a lot of DeFi projects. They all utilize Chainlink. And that's because newcomers in the space, they don't want to develop their own Oracle system. You could certainly develop it, but it hasn't been tested, right? Can you really rely on a new Oracle system, right? So that's where Chainlink definitely has the lead on that. So I don't think Chainlink's going to go away anytime soon. And yeah, I'm still bullish on them. T-Lock, yeah, in terms of my vlog on my other channel, trying to find interesting things, but like right now, what I've really decided to do is really go all in on my automotive channel because I realize I have very good traction with it. I mean, very good viewer base. I have the favor of YouTube algorithm. So now I'm spending a lot more time to develop the website, which I really didn't pay attention to. Getting articles, trying to build that out into a destination, and concentrate more on that and social media aspect about that too. So that's what I'm spending most of my time on besides this channel. And that's why I haven't really worked on my vlog channel. I do, but I'm just so busy right now. I'm really, really, really busy. So being a full-time YouTuber is not easy work. No matter what anyone says or portrays, it's not. You end up spending more time, working on videos, editing, coming up with ideas, whatever, behind the scenes stuff than a normal 9 to 5 job. But I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world. What is going on with these bots, man? I don't know if McAfee actually got thrown into jail. I mean, he was he was extradited from Spain, but let's take a look. I'm wondering if there's been any updates. So the biggest thing is not only was he shilling altcoins, right? But the SEC will just fine him for that. But the main thing is, it seems like he's been indicted for tax evasion and something that he's been proud to boast on Twitter. He would say, "Oh, I haven't paid taxes in years, whatever." So that's what they're going after him for. And tax evasion is, as we know, a good tool for the government to arrest people. When they can't charge people for anything else, they look at their taxes, and they usually get them on taxes. So we'll see. It looks like there hasn't been any other updates since about a week ago. John McAfee didn't kill himself. He tweets from jail. Oh, so I guess there's something about he killed himself? Hey, T-Lock, I appreciate it. Oh, that's a lot. Thank you. I appreciate it. Usually I don't spend $25 on lunch, but I'll take it. He's still sitting in a Spanish jail. It takes that long? It's been a week and they still haven't extradited him? And the fact that they give him a phone to be able to tweet from his jail cell, that's pretty good. Anyways, I don't know. I stopped believing. For John McAfee, I used to just put up with his antics because overall he was still bring good attention to Bitcoin. I got off John McAfee as soon as he declared that he no longer believes in Bitcoin, that it's ancient. He compared Bitcoin to Model T, and then he started shilling some whatever other coin. I think some security coin. And then he got kicked out of that security coin too. So basically, everything, he didn't really believe in anything. Everything was just a ruse. And that's when I got off the John McAfee bandwagon, 100%. His thing about, Bitcoin going $1 million, it's just a matter of time. It's all math and all that stuff. That was just all fake. That's all BS on his part. And he said, "Oh, just kidding. I'm not going to eat my own dick if it doesn't hit $1 million by 2020. So, yeah. Roger, I've been testing a new RAV4. I've noticed the old RAV4 offered 70 more horsepower and greater towing. So why buy a new one? That's a really old RAV4. The one with the V6 you're talking about? Yeah, they got rid of it, unfortunately. That was a good engine. That was just their V6 engine. So why buy the new? Well, the newer one is still nicer, and you have more safety features and a lot more features. For example, Like, I haven't really used Apple CarPlay or Android Auto until recently, and I've started playing around with it, and it's really nice. So all these new cars basically all have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as long as they have some kind of screen up. So you don't have to worry about navigation or anything like that. You plug it in and it comes up. You could stream all your stuff besides Netflix. They won't allow you that. But Spotify, Pandora, and of course your Google Maps, anything pops up. It's really nice. It's really, really nice. That's the new thing. And then now you have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so you don't even have to plug it in. So that's really nice. But yeah, that's the reason. That's the reason. All these bots that are shilling Tron, don't they realize they're actually hurting Tron? Like, they're actually making the project they're trying to shill worse because people are saying the project is actually hiring people that run bots to spam. I don't get that. That just makes no sense at all. If you're towing a boat, you should not be towing with a RAV4, Roger. Let's just be honest there. Why would you want to tow with a RAV4? It makes no sense. You'll get a 4Runner, you know, or get a Sequoia. Then you can tow whatever you want. But don't tow with a RAV4. I remember you go test drive a Kia Telluride, but didn't catch what you thought of it. I did. I came out the video. Telluride is honestly my favorite non-luxury SUV. It sounds good. It drives really good. Looks is questionable, but I think it looks good. It's big, spacious, it's quiet. Kia knocked it out of the park. I think it's better than the Hyundai Palisade. But with that said, when it came time for me to actually buy a car, right? Because my wife's lease is over. I had to choose, right? The only thing holding me back from buying a Kia Telluride is the name Kia. A lot of people will never buy Kia because of the name Kia, and that's because the old Kias they depreciated extremely badly, and because they were unreliable. It didn't matter they had a 10-year warranty. You had to bring it in like every other week because they were just breaking left and right. So Kia has a lot to prove with their new products, like the Telluride with the K5, the new Elantra. No, is it Elantra? No, that's Hyundai. Whatever else car they have, right? They all look great and they ride well, they perform well, but you don't know until 5-10 years down the road to see how reliable they are. They really need to prove that. Otherwise, there's just going to be people that will never buy it. And plus, depreciation is based on how reliable they are too. So that will help. But right now, that's the only thing holding me back from buying a Kia. Ocean X. So I'm assuming they're DEX because they're listing themselves on their own DEX. I don't think anything about Ocean X. They look like they're just another exchange, and that's it. How-to videos. Like, what kind of how-to videos? John Doe had my Sorrento for 10 years. The problem is rust. Well, that's a problem too. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, Kia obviously turned the corner. They collaborated with Hyundai, or Hyundai bought them or whatever. And Hyundai has been improving their brand for a while now. So it could be a matter of time, right? A matter of time before they really catch up to the Japanese. But right now, the only thing holding back the Koreans, besides just the brand and depreciation, is engines too. See, I mean, I could ban the bots faster than than they could come in. So still, it doesn't help. It doesn't help if you guys are trying to to shield Tron. It just makes your image look worse. But anyways, the engines for the Telluride and other Kias and Hyundais, they're lacking right now. I think they need to develop better engines. Do I have the CRO card? No, I do not. I do not. I don't want to spend my crypto on anything right now. That'd be insane. Why would you want to spend it now? If you have millions and millions of Bitcoin or other crypto, then sure, spend it. But why would you want to spend it now? So no. I would not be spending it at all. Jack Dorsey is getting subpoenaed by the Senate. Is this bullish or bearish news for Bitcoin? I would say it's bullish. I think they'll probably go just question him on digital currencies. I don't know what it's about, but Jack is such a bull for Bitcoin. He's gonna get every chance he gets. He talks good about Bitcoin or blockchain or whatever. So it's only gonna be good. Filecoin worth the hype? Yeah, it's worth the hype, but you don't want to buy it when it's sky high like right now. So I like the leader, Juan. I think he's a very smart guy. I don't know about his business acumen, but he's a very, very intelligent developer. He invented IPFS, which is what Filecoin is based off of. They have a ton of treasury, so they could last, but they shot up like whatever amount, like 100% or 200% over a single day. You want to make sure that cools down before you get involved. Otherwise, it could still be coming down. But I do think once they level out, it could be a good hold. There's a lot of decentralized storage in the space. Decentralized storage is actually one of the good use cases if you think about it for blockchain. But none of them have really taken off, but maybe Filecoin will. What is my number one alt recommendation? I would say number one recommendation overall is just Bitcoin. Just concentrate on Bitcoin. There's just too little to go around. Bitcoin scarcity keeps increasing. It doesn't really matter that Bitcoin's price is not moving right now when everyone is trying to get as much Bitcoin as possible, including hedge funds and publicly traded companies now that have nothing to do with Bitcoin or crypto or finance or investments. When that's starting to happen, this is a big turning point. So I would say going forward, collect as much Bitcoin as you can. Altcoins will be fine. Some of them will do well. Some of them won't. They're good speculative play, right? But you don't want to go too heavy into any alt anyways. You want to concentrate on Bitcoin. So that's my stance. Roger, I'm going to say Bitcoin again. Wabi is still around. Gifto is still around. Gifto just basically gave up on the Western market, so they kind of died off. They were trying to expand. Wabi, I haven't heard much about them. They were still trying to grow in China, but due to coronavirus, I think they got really held back. There's not a lot of people are shopping, especially in Asia and China. So they're both still around, but haven't done much recently. No, Ethereum will not be my number two. Yeah, my number 2 would be someone like Chainlink or VeChain. So they're kind of mixed. I think VeChain has a better long-term promise, more of a long-term play. Chainlink is more of a short-term play. It'll probably grow faster short-term. But VeChain, I think, is going to be a lot more dominant in the future. But those two would be my tied number 2 spots. All right, guys. I think that's it. I'm gonna take off, getting a little hungry. But yeah. So to conclude, why did Bitcoin go down? Why did it dip? Well, because of this. But this is a really weird story. I don't know why they would need to suspend withdrawals just because one of the head guys gets taken away for questioning. I just don't understand it. So this is the reason why. But Bitcoin will just shake that off, right? Bitcoin doesn't care. Bitcoin is too scarce. It's too coveted by too many right now, and there's only one place it could go, and that's up. And this is the time to be accumulating as much as you can before you can, because trust me, you go watch me on a stream 3 years, 5 years from now, and when I have this up, this will be at 50,000 or 100,000, and then you're going to be like, okay, I should have listened to you back in 2020. And you're going to regret not doing so. So right now it's definitely a time to be concentrating on Bitcoin. And I talked about Filecoin, right? So hopefully those of you guys that wanted to learn a little more about Filecoin, if you missed the beginning, then rewind to the beginning. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Stay tuned to my future videos on this coming week, and of course my live session again next Friday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right, guys, T-Lock, thanks again. Thanks to you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.